Hello, good evening, happy Friday halftime TV viewers and subscribers, and I hope everyone can hear me. If you can hear me, let me know down in the comment section. Go ahead and smash the like button as well. This evening, we have a very special guest who will be joining us. We have Dennis Chung, decorated accountant, and he'll be here. I know he currently holds a post with the Jamaica Football Federation, but he's not here in that capacity this evening. He's here to break down some of the intricacies surrounding the Usain Bolt SSL situation. And we're excited to have him here. He won't be joining us on camera, by the way. So he'll be joining us via WhatsApp. So you'll be hearing the audio on the broadcast. But before I go any further, let me say a big shout out to my sponsors, Quick Link Shipping and RS Sportswear. Quick Link Shipping, anything you need whatsoever shipped into the island, they have you covered. Telephone number 454-1979. You can see the telephone number running beneath as well. But folks, in the comment section, let me know if you can hear me. If you can hear me, drop a comment or drop an emoji just to confirm that you can hear me and the audio is clear. All right, so go ahead and let me know how the audio is going before I proceed. Okay, can everyone hear me? All right, so before we even go any further, we've seen what's been happening throughout the week. We are in Bolt. He's been in the news throughout the entirety of this week. Today we received news that his former business manager Norman Peart was questioned by the fraud squad, and I have an article here. Good evening, Blade Brown. Thanks for joining us. You've been with us throughout the entirety of the week as well. So thanks for commenting. Thanks for the continuous feedback that you've been providing us throughout the week. All right. So big up yourself, Blade Brown, in that one. But this article was published in September 2016. All right. And Norman Peart, My Journey with Usain. It was written by Barbara Ellington, and this was published by the Jamaica Gleaner. All right. So I'll read the article, and then afterwards I'll give Mr. Dennis Chung a call so we can ask him a few questions, because personally I did communications in school, and a lot of the terms that were used and that continue to be used throughout this SSL situation, a lot of it I have to be drawing for the dictionary, and I have to be like checking out Google to see what exactly it means and that sort of thing. So give me a couple minutes and then we're going to get over to Mr. Dennis Chung. But in the interim, I'm going to read this article, and then you guys can continue providing your comments over there in the comment section. All right. So again, the article reads, My Journey with Usain. I'll leave a link to the article in the description as soon as the video is complete as well. They both are from Trelawney. Norman Peart is from Shawfield, and Bolt is from 5 miles. It is from 5 miles away in Sherwood Content, and both attended William Knibb in the parish. All right. Peart did not take his athletic interest beyond high school, but their paths eventually crossed years later after he graduated from the University of Technology, UTech, with Bolt giving clear indication that he will end his career next year. Peart, who is business manager for Bolt Management Limited, was asked by Outlook to share the story of their journey together. I was working at the tax office in Montego Bay when our high school principal called me asking if I could come and help with the sports program. I said no because of my schedule, but she called again with more details. Peart recalled in an exclusive interview with Outlook. We have this little one and we think he can get a scholarship, the principal said. So Peart went for the meeting and for the first time laid eyes on someone he fondly recalled as a Longfoot boy. I was amazed at his height for a 15-year-old, but I was told he's a good boy. Peart, who is now Bolt's business manager, said. All right, after meeting Bolt, Peart requested a meeting with his parents to see what the family dynamics were. He found the elder Bolts to be solid, God-fearing folks who were also looking for someone to help their son with lessons and training. The next 18 months saw a rigid regimen of studying and training, and that led to the big win at the World Junior in 2002. All right, so we won't go into the entirety of this article, but this is as far back as it went, all right? And we're seeing now where it appears the relationship has soured. But before I continue on this one, I'm going to give Mr. Chung a call because I know he has other obligations. So let's hope I can get him right now, all right? So give me a couple minutes, folks.
Hello?
Hello, good evening, Mr. Chung. Naranda here calling from Halftime TV. Can everyone hear Mr. Chung on the channel? You're live, Mr. Chung. You're live right now. Yes. Can everyone hear? Please let me know in the comment section if you can hear. Please look at
you can hear me.
I think they should be able to hear you, but just for a little bit of an introduction, Mr. Dennis Chung is no stranger to the finances, a chartered accountant by profession, and CEO of Supreme Ventures Limited. And we know Supreme Ventures is one of the most profitable.
No, I'm not there anymore.
Former CEO of Supreme Ventures Limited. But again,
Ventures Services.
Yeah. So currently holds a position with the Jamaica Football Federation. But as I said, he's not in that capacity this evening. He's here to clear up some of the financial terms or jargons that have been used throughout this SSL Usain Bolt situation. So first of all, Mr. Chung, how are you doing? How was your week? How's everything?
I'm good. The week was busy as usual, especially with this SSL thing. I think I've done over 20 interviews since last week Wednesday.
All right. So there are a ton load of folks that are requesting your expertise then. So I guess that's a good thing. And on the footballing bit, big news coming out of the JFF. So that's very good for us as fans of football as well. But we'll get into that on another show. But I saw where there were difficulties identifying if Bolt actually had an account with SSL. It was registered under Wellgen. For those who don't know, Bolt's dad's name is Wellesley and his mom is Jennifer. So I'm assuming that's where the name came from. But it was registered as an LLC. Can you explain to us what an LLC is and why would someone want to have an LLC?
LLC is it stands for Limited Liability Company. And an LLC is similar to a company, a limited company that you'd have in Jamaica. But what happens is that the LLC that he was invested in was in St. Lucia. Now, I suspect that the reason why he invested in that LLC in St. Lucia is that it provides good tax cover, right? So St. Lucia, Barbados, those places have special tax arrangements. So you get very low tax rates. And because we're in CARICOM, right, then, if you get taxed at one rate in one company, in one country, then you won't get taxed at another rate because we do have the CARICOM tax laws that protects us. And then, in certain other countries, we have what you call double tax treaties with them, which means that if you pay tax in one location, you're not going to pay tax in another location. So you have special arrangements, different arrangements, I would say, between countries. Some of them we don't have treaties with, which means that if you pay tax in one country, you would have to pay tax in the other country. So you'll find that when people are looking to invest money, they want to do it as tax efficient as possible. And when you're talking about, 12, 13 million US dollars, you have to take the time to do that. And I think that St. Lucia would have provided a good option for them. That's why they would have done it. I know that some of the tax laws have been changing. I think St. Lucia still is one of the best in the Caribbean, if you want to get tax cover. But, the truth is that, the tax laws, even though you go to St. Lucia, if it's not structured properly, it can still be subject to tax in Jamaica.
Okay.
right? So I mean, I'm sure that the tax people might have a look at it just to make sure it's okay.
Okay. So would I be correct then in saying Usain Bolt was attempting to dodge some taxes?
Not dodge. I mean, tax avoidance is legal.
Okay.
Well, I guess you could use the word dodge, but that sort of sound,
Sketchy.
tax evasion is illegal.
Okay.
So if you deliberately, without using the tax code or the tax law, try just say you're not paying tax, then that's evasion. If you use the tax code, right? So going to St. Lucia and registering a company, for example, in St. Lucia, right? You can do that, right? And then you pass the profits a certain way. You could actually register a company in St. Lucia, live in Jamaica, register a company in St. Lucia, and then that St. Lucian company hold a company elsewhere in the Caribbean,
Okay.
right? So once the profit goes to St. Lucia, it's sort of it is not subject to a lot of tax, right? Because you'd have that holding company, for example, that the dividends are paid to,
All right.
right? Is not subject to a lot of tax, and then you find a way to pass it on, but you do it within the tax code.
All right. All right. Fair enough. You mentioned limited liability company, and you've been using company quite a lot, and I don't know if I'm getting this correctly, but my understanding of a company, it has to have a organizational structure, probably a shareholder, a CEO, or something of the sort. But since I heard about Welgen, I haven't heard about any shareholders or anything that would state that this is a company, so to speak. So, what is the difference between an LLC and a shell company?
Yeah, you must have a shareholder. I think in terms of directorship, I think you only need about two directors. You have to have a director. I think in St. Lucia, you have to have a director that's a resident in St. Lucia. If I remember the tax laws properly there. So obviously, what they would have is that they would have someone there who basically acts as your corporate secretary and your director, your resident director in St. Lucia. Um, and then, you might have directors from here, from Jamaica or wherever. Um, there is a requirement that you have um, board meetings in St. Lucia at least once per year, as I remember it, right? Um, so the directors, I mean, even though they live outside of St. Lucia, you have to establish residence in St. Lucia to be able to take advantage of the preferential tax rate. So how you will establish that residence is by 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 having a board meeting in St. Lucia, right? Well, it's perfect to do that because you have to establish residence of the company. If the directors are having meetings and the meetings are outside of St. Lucia, then you're going to lose that residency status and that tax status. So it's legal. It's a legal thing to do. I mean, as long as you follow the rules,
Okay.
right? And that is what somebody doing a tax audit might look for.
Okay.
To make sure that you're following the rules. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for that. I haven't seen any directors mentioned. I've seen signatory. But we still await the full details of the situation because again, and I've mentioned it before, I don't want to form a full opinion because I don't have all the facts, and then
Right.
I think that would be reckless of me or
Yeah.
to come out with a full opinion having not received all the information that would surround this particular case. All right, so my next question: how is it possible for something like this to go unnoticed for over 10 years? Because initially we thought it was up until the end of last year, and then news broke today that it has been going on since 2012. So, as someone who's been in the financial sector, how does something like this go unnoticed?
There's only two things that can cause it. One of them is collusion, right? In other words, maybe there's more than just gene tantrum that's involved in it, right? With collusion, there's no, I don't see no evidence of that yet. Um, or just gross negligence and breakdown of the control systems. You
Okay.
know, that's just it, because it's supposed to be picked up. For example, I would ask the question of this lady, Gina Panton. Did she go on leave? Because when you find that one of the things in an organization, you see that people are not taking leave, and for 2 or 3 years they don't want to take leave. Maybe because they can't take leave, because if they take leave, then people don't cover what they're doing at the desk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard. I think I was having this conversation with Elite Sports, and we were speaking about the same leave argument where folks don't even want to step away from the desk because they don't want other folks to get in. But still, 10 years. I think over maybe 3 years, 5 years, it's understandable, but a full decade. Um, is it possible
Yeah,
for a
there's
single individual?
obviously,
Yeah,
but
because
I mean, I find it very difficult.
yeah.
There's obviously a breakdown of internal audits, there, and also the control system, the basic control system, which is segregation of duties. A lot of people I've seen in companies say, boy, why we need so much people to do X and Y, and the first thing is always to go to the accounts department. But the segregation of duties is important. Because, for example, if you have your vendors dealing with your accounts payable people, you have a problem, right? Because your accounts payable people can issue a check to the vendors if they get too close. And similar on the receivable side, with your receivables people, you know. So a lot of people I know, because they're trying to get costs, and you see that as the place that is not the most exciting is always accounts. You try to cut the administration, but these are the things that happen when you do that.
All
You
right.
know, yeah.
All right, fair enough. What are your thoughts on, because before we even get to that question, a couple of years ago, we saw where popular entertainer David Brooks, more popularly known as Mavado, he had a similar case. Well, not similar, but he had a run in with Ginan, sorry, not Ginan, with Mrs. Mesado, and the case is still between the
Right.
courts. 30 something million for land. She filed for bankruptcy, and again, Movado still yet to receive justice. Seems as
Mm-hmm.
if it's a slap on the wrist for Mrs. Masado. And a couple of days ago, it was reported that SSL, they tried to wind up.
Mm-hmm.
Wind up. Can you explain what
Yeah,
winding up
yeah.
is, and why would a company want to
Basic,
wind up?
but basically, you dissolve the company, and you would do that. I mean, a members wind up is because you want to just liquidate the business, get out of it. It's not normally because you're having an insolvency problem, but just that you want to liquidate, wind up the company, stop doing it, and just pay out the assets. Um, in this case, I mean, I find it, very unacceptable, should I say, or very fishy that someone will try and wind up a company at the same time that the temporary manager has stepped in. You know, it suggests to me, if the members are going to do a voluntary wind up, um, that they might see that there are some solvency issues, right? Number one, and or they're trying to protect themselves from legal action, which is this move to wind up for me. People could still look on and say, "Oh, this is an admission of guilt,"
I was
but
just going
basically
to
what
get
they
to that.
want,
I was just going to
yeah,
get to that. Go ahead.
yeah, basically what the owners are saying is, hey, we want to liquidate the company, and maybe file for
Bankruptcy.
bankruptcy or something. it seems to me an admission of guilt when you do something like that in the middle of an investigation like this.
I agree because if I'm running an establishment and a member of my staff does something like this, I am fully cooperating with the investigators because
Yeah,
that
right.
staff member has brought the good name of my
Yeah, yeah.
establishment into disrepute. And
But then you ask the question, I mean, you say over 10 years, it's very difficult for her to do it alone over 10 years.
that's exactly my point. And
I mean, there must have been some assistance, whether it might be assistance stuff, but certainly, I mean, it's extremely difficult, something like that over 10 years in a financial institution.
yeah. We were just touching on winding up and possibly filing for bankruptcy, as was the case with Mrs. Mesado a couple of years ago. She filed for bankruptcy. I think the court had ordered her to pay maybe $40,000 a month to Movado. Not sure of the figure, but it was less than 100,000. I'm sure. What are your thoughts surrounding current regulations on cases like these? Because someone can simply come in and rob you and just file for bankruptcy.
Yeah. Well, the Insolvency Act is good and it gives you protection. People will always try and use the law in their favor. So I don't see anything wrong with the legislation as it exists for insolvency. In fact, I was on the PSOJ committee that actually helped to draft the Insolvency Act that's in place now. And I think it's a very good piece of legislation. Just like the FSC has very strong regulations, despite what happened, they have very strong legislation. The challenge is with enforcement, and some people are always going to try and manipulate laws. I mean, that's the nature of money, and that's why we have regulators. Regulators are supposed to address that situation, by enforcing the law. But people are always going to try those things. So nothing strange really.
We speak about the issue. You said that it's a good piece of legislation and all of that, but which brings me to fair and just, right? And I keep going back to Movado's situation where it may be just, but is it fair, right? Because the courts they handed down the ruling saying, okay, this is the case. She filed for bankruptcy. This is what she indicated that she's able to take care of on a monthly basis. In cases like that, it caused I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me. And now in this situation again, I sense that Usain Bolt, because today's 10-day, he gave a 10-day ultimatum. Saw him today.
A lot of that money is going to be very difficult to recover, to be honest with you.
That would have been my next question, because again, and is that fair? Because it's just based on how the legislation is set up, but is it fair?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Well, life is not life is not fair, I mean, life is not fair. So
so
the law,
go ahead.
The law tries its best to do the best thing, but people who understand the law will always try and use it, especially if you're a lawyer.
Yeah.
You're going to try and use the law.
So what are the possible ways or the possible avenues that Usain Bolt and his team could explore in recovering these monies? Yeah.
Well, it was. You see what I think happened, and I think a big part of the problem might be that not enough due diligence was being paid to the investments that were being made, because for her to transfer the shares, right, it suggests to me, and this seems like a big problem, that persons weren't paying enough close attention to the name that the shares were bought in. So there are two things. I mean, was the shares bought in the name of SSL, right? Were the shares bought in the name of somebody else? that she could use that name. Because if she was the one buying the shares, she could actually buy it in a name that she could get to sell it. You understand what I'm saying? Whether it's SSL or another name, I mean, the fact is, were the shares in the name of Jen or whatever. I don't know. Those are some of the things you have to look at. I remember, stocks are bearer instruments, see? So it's going to be in a certain name. I don't know what the control procedures were at SSL to sell or transfer. I see some documents where transfer documents where she's the only one sign on it. So it seems to me that there was a fundamental breakdown of internal controls there, and the question is, where is the internal auditor? Where is the auditor's report and the management that is coming out of it? Those are some of the things I would review, and then trace the money as to where it went, because when the money was transferred, then what happened with it? So it must have been turned into cash.
You mentioned tracing the money, and I think there was a couple of transfers that were made to his former manager or his former business manager's account.
Purportedly.
Yeah, purportedly. The documents that were put forward, he indicated the emails. Sorry, he said those emails weren't his, right? That they didn't come from his account. He indicated that those were doctored, right? All this we mentioned before that it's very difficult for Miss Panton to have carried out this on her own. These same individuals who doctored the documents to point it otherwise. Because if I'm trying to move some money, I'm not going to transfer it directly to my account. If I'm to be frank with you, you get what I'm saying? So
yeah. It depends on how comfortable you get doing it, If you're doing it for 10 years, then you might say, hey, I can continue doing it for another 10.
All right. Fair enough. Blade Brown, go ahead with your question. I have someone in the comment section who has a question for you. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining Halftime TV. We have with us, again, for those who are just joining us, we have Mr. Dennis Chung shedding some light on sports and finances amid the Usain Bolt SSL saga that's currently unfolding in Jamaica. All right. But while Mr. Brown gets his question together, what would be your advice to young athletes looking to reinvest in Jamaica on the back of this particular situation?
Oh, there are a lot of opportunities. As an athlete, the best your expertise is running, right? You make a good amount of money. Just align yourself with a good financial person. Someone who is independent of you and can give you proper advice, that has a good record, that can give you proper advice, and give you the reports, the updated reports all the while, and someone that is trustworthy, so you can do what you do best, which is running, right? And the person can invest for you properly, or guide decisions. That's the best advice I can give them.
Fair enough, but this gentleman has been with Usain Bolt for 20 years. 20 years. I'm seeing pictures where he's on vacation in Toronto with Usain Bolt's parents. So 20 years. I think that's a whole lot of time. That's a whole lot of time to build some level of trust. And based on information that we received as well, documents were being. Go ahead.
Yeah, we don't know if his signature wasn't anywhere now. We don't know if he was consenting to the money being transferred in his name.
Yeah.
Because that could possibly not be so. So,
It could be a smoke screen.
I don't know. I'm just saying, for people who are coming in, this is really the best way to go.
Yeah.
Work with someone who has the reputation that you want.
Right. And in getting that reputation, folks, remember, one person's perspective may be great, and then when you do another check, it's totally different. So ensure that you do due diligence. And I know some may say, but how much is enough? I can't. I don't think you can do enough. All right, so just ensure that you're extremely thorough in your checks, because we don't want anyone else falling into this situation. And again, smart people learn from others' mistakes. So just use this as a learning opportunity for you guys coming in. All right. Oh, can't listen to that guy. Then insult my all right. So I think those are all the questions I have for you for this evening. I really and truly appreciate you joining us. I'll have you on again in a different capacity, probably in the as the GFF general secretary, and then we can speak a bit more about football at that time. But thanks again, Mr. Chung. We appreciate everything that you've done and you continue to do for the nation, and continue uplifting the youth of Jamaica. All right. Thanks again.
All right, no problem. All right, good night. Very much.
All right. Take care. All right. There you have it, folks. We bid good night to Mr. Dennis Chung. Proper insight there. And for those who aren't aware of what's happening, we were just breaking down the Usain Bolt SSL situation. I wanted to have a little bit more information, because again, we're only receiving information from the news team and the basically the journalists who are on the ground and who are presenting what they're hearing. But a lot of the jargons, a lot of the terms, a lot of the explanations that we've received in the newspaper, they don't provide as much clarity, and that's why we opted to have Dennis Chung, very special guest, with us this evening on the show. All right, so let's go over to the comment section and hear what you folks have to say. Blade, we didn't hear the question that you were bringing forward, Blade. But I think we'll run for another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll call it an evening as we continue to monitor the Usain Bolt situation. Remember, folks, if you're just joining us, smash the like button and subscribe to Halftime TV, as well as we continue to bring you the information on the situation. All right, so big up yourself, Ames 3. Elite Sports. Subscribe to Elite Sports, folks, if you haven't yet done so. Fran Neptune, big up yourself. Straight up, setting up in St. Lucia is not only to avoid taxes, it's also a way to corrupt Jamaican politician to hide. Oh, for a corrupt Jamaican politician to hide their funds. Patrick Simpson, did this company file any financial report? Good night, Onika Green. Good night. Freedom Vlog. FC off topic half time. We're going to Chelsea. we're currently rebuilding. We're currently rebuilding, my friend. We're currently rebuilding. The Chelsea signed Gusto today. From is it Leon? Yeah, I think Leon. Chelsea signed Gusto from. He won't join us though until the summer. So yeah, man. Big up the Arsenal fans as well. They lost 1-0 to Manchester City today. But big up the Arsenal fans, big up the Liverpool fans. And again, folks, if you're paying attention, throwing money at problems, okay, well, it's doing smart business, because most of these players are getting 8 and 7 year contracts, and the wages aren't as exorbitant as the some of the players we have now on the books. So I think some are clear out, and then start fresh players on less wages, pushing through on longer contracts as well. So that's good. Sarah Sweeney, good night to you too. I know you guys haven't seen me in a minute. I apologize. I've been away, and then I got sick, and then I decided, hey, this would have been my first live stream for 2023, and we opted to get Mr. Dennis Chung to join us on the show. Big shout out to Elite Sports, making it happen. As always, we appreciate you, and we appreciate you guys as well. All right, so my sponsors, Quicklink Shipping, telephone number 454-1979. Anything whatsoever you need shipped into Jamaica, they have you covered. So check out Quicklink Shipping, RS Sports Store as well. All your sporting apparel, check out RS Sports Store on Instagram. They have predict and win, so you predict the score and you win a jersey. Easy as that. So Follow RS Sports Store on Instagram and predict the score to the game. All right, just look out for their posts. They'll post the games, they'll predict the scores, and then you get the opportunity to win. All right, so we'll continue the article. We'll continue reading the article, and then we'll have a small discussion around it. Now, this article, as I said, was published in 2016, and it's Norman Peart sharing his journey with Usain Bolt. And I know Mr. Chung mentioned that it was purported that the funds were transferred to Norman Peart's account, and all of that. We don't have any confirmation that he agreed to any of that. All right, could happen to any of us. Can't be too careful. I agree. Unfortunately, this kind of thing happens too often. I agree with you, Fran Neptune. Too often these sort of things happen. Right. So we're gonna continue the reading the article that was published a couple of years ago. Unseen Sports TV. Big up yourself. Keep up the good work, bro. All right. So Bolt broke Champ's record in 2003, particularly the 200 meters, making him at the time the third fastest in the world. The team began to think seriously about its future and were advised to speak with IAAF High Performance Training Center, for which the late Teddy McCook was director and Fitz Coleman was head coach. All right, continuing. This is they wanted my assurance that I could go with him, and I was immediately thrust into the role of father. This is Norman Peart. We got help from sponsors like Carl Chung of Western Sports and Super Plus Chain, which began with us in 2002. For Wellesley and Jennifer, having sat with Peart from the start, they felt assured that their son was in good hands. All right, so this is a pair of these are parents basically handing their son over to someone who they trust, all right, to take care of him, to basically play the father role, all right. And this is all the way back in 2003. All right, when we met Norman, we felt him. Oh, this is Bolt's parents. We knew he was the right person for Usain. Although he was young, we saw that he had Usain's interest at heart. Leaving Mobe after work and traveling to Trelawney to spend hours with Usain, working with him, Bolt, this is the elder Bolt, said. Jennifer Bolt concurs. I knew I was putting my son in good hands. A smiling but proud dad quip. And he mean, you see, he winks and adds, so we know Usain finances is in good hands. Eh? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Again, as I said, when it was revealed today that Norman Peart was fired, initially it was reported that they amicably parted ways. I think that was the term used late last year, and I think one of the major television stations they reported on it, and then in the end they retracted their statement. All of that stuff. But Usain Bolt in his interview today, while he was at the sponsors dinner or something of the sort, he indicated that Norman Peart was in fact fired. All right, he said Mr. Peart was fired. Now, what would cause you to fire someone who basically has been a father figure for roughly 20 years, who's been managing your finances for roughly 20 years, was there when the first contract came? Your parents basically passed you on to him to take care of you, to ensure that you were okay. And as Mrs. Bolt said, and immediately, well, Mr. Bolt said immediately, so we know Bolt finances were in good hand. I don't know. This is Mr. Peart again. His parents visited frequently, but he always had to go home for Christmas. He couldn't stay out late or go to clubs before age 18. He could have broken out, but with the strength of his parents, he toed the line. He might have slipped occasionally, but we never had any confrontations. This was Peart, you know? No confrontation with Bolt. Described by his mentor as nice, kind-hearted person who loves to help people. Peart said Bolt is always in his parents' heart. Bolt looks back with gratitude, saying the teamwork and understanding between them shaped my life. Being the meanest person I know. So everybody knows that Peart mean, eh? I know my finances are in good hands. What I admire about him is that he will tell me as it is, and he pays strict attention to me being financially secure after I hang up my spikes. All right. This is evidenced by the fact that the track star first became a homeowner in 2008 with Peart's guidance. His real estate and other business portfolios have been growing ever since. Has he ever felt frustrated by the enormity of his responsibilities? Peart, who is married with 2 children, said on the rare occasion when that happens, he simply remembers how much the elder both are depending on him to keep his eyes and ears on their son's interests. It would be like abandoning my child. You don't do that. All right. So quite an interesting article, and having read that article, it it begs a whole lot of questions, and I have a whole lot of questions too, and a whole lot of reservations too. That's why I don't want to cast any judgment on Mr. Peart, because as things stand, and based on the information that I got from that article, it's 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 one of those relationships that probably they parted way amicably, or probably things just started going downhill after 2016, or maybe Usain Bolt realized that something wasn't going right with his finances, and questions were asked that couldn't be answered, and as a result, Mr. Peart had to be relieved of his duties. I don't know. Those are only questions that I'm asking, because those questions haven't yet been answered, and I know Bolt's team has been tight-lipped. His attorneys have been tight-lipped as well. Haven't gotten all the information. We're still exploring all the corners and all the possibilities. But until then, I want you guys to keep an open mind. I want you guys to don't cast judgment too quickly, because Norman Peart, quite frankly, seems as if he has been Bolt's second father for the best part of 20 years. And I know they're no longer a team and they parted ways, but that doesn't necessarily mean he was the one who fleeced Bolt of 2 billion Jamaican dollars. All right, he was questioned by the fraud squad, but let's say he's innocent until proven guilty. I know Jamaicans are quick to say guilty, and as long as the name is called next to something, they're quick to say you're guilty, and then you have to prove, or you have to restore your reputation for the rest of your life. But let's give Mr. Peart the benefit of the doubt in this one. But what says you, the viewers and subscribers? Let me know what your thoughts are over there in the comment section. And remember, smash the like button as soon as possible. As soon as you hop onto the live stream, smash the like button. All right. Yeah, we're staying. We're checking out the questions, and the questions don't come, then we just call it an evening and wish everyone a wonderful weekend. But yeah, big up everybody again. 3M's AI 3MS. I don't know. All right, Freedom Vlog. But turn the notification on, folks. Remember, the most important thing, turn the notification on. So as soon as Halftime TV does a video, you get the notification and can go ahead and watch it. All right. We will be constantly bringing you content, constantly updating you on what's happening with this Usain Bolt situation. We'll be covering it until the end, because I think although it's not primarily related to sports, Usain Bolt is the greatest sports icon in Jamaica. And if Usain Bolt is the story, then we have to be covering Usain Bolt. I don't think there's any other story right now if it's not Usain Bolt. And regardless of what sport you support, all eyes are on Usain Bolt, and everyone globally who's watched Usain Bolt and whose lives Usain Bolt has impacted, whether directly or indirectly, they are paying attention to this one, because they want it to be resolved, and they want Bolt to get back his money as well. So let me know, folks. Do you think Usain Bolt will be getting back his money? Do you think Usain Bolt's ex-business manager had any role to play in these monies going missing? And if so, do you think it's possible for Bolt to retrieve the majority? I won't say all, because I think it's virtually impossible for him to recover all of that money. But do you think it's possible for him to recover the majority of the money? Let me know. And also, today's 10 days. What do you think Usain Bolt's lawyers have in store? Let me know in the comment section. I'll leave it at that for this evening. Look out for more videos. Look out for more content from Halftime TV. Like, share, subscribe. Big up my sponsors, Quick Link Shipping, RS Sports Store. Have a wonderful weekend to all the viewers and the subscribers, everyone who's supported Halftime TV and continue to support Halftime TV. All right. Until next time, peace out, folks. Have a wonderful evening.